It's November 2016, and today I'm making Link's Hylian Shield from Zelda, as if, if you googled this, you know what it is. So I know this has been done before by a few other YouTubers, but now it's my turn. For this build, you'll need Plastidip, EVA foam, a heat gun, super glue, silver, gold, ruby, and blue rub and buff. Well, patina. Craft foam, a Sharpie, hot glue, paint, a sharpening stone, a respirator mask, goggles, a rotary tool, scissors, razor pens, or a box cutter. First, draw the shape of a shield on one side of a sheet of EVA foam, cut along that edge, and use the part that you trimmed off as a stencil for the other side to get both sides to be symmetrical. Now use that as a template to cut an identical shield shape out of another sheet of foam. Then draw the shape of the frame you want on the interior of that second sheet and cut out the middle. You can take a little bit of creative licensing with this. Some people do the interior a little bit different, but this is what looks right to me. Before you attach the frame, heat up the solid shield piece with a heat gun and bend it to get the curve you want. You have to hold it in place until it cools. You can brace it with something, but watch out that your brace doesn't leave an impression. I'm cutting some of the details out of that centerpiece from before just to give me an idea of where they're gonna lie on the shield and how big they should be. Also, once they're cut out, I can use that sort of as a stencil and trace on the main shield to give me an even better idea of where I should glue them down. Once they were cut out, I used my rotary tool to sand them into a triangular shape instead of a four-sided blocky shape. When the shield is cooled down, glue the frame in place as well as the details. If the shield changes shape at all during this process, don't worry about it. You can always go back in with the heat gun and fix it later. But be careful because the heat gun could reactivate the hot glue. So there are some plate armor edge lines around the perimeter of the shield, but they're super thin. So I used my work knife, cut a line at a depth of about halfway into the foam. Then I hit it with the heat gun, which opened up the seam a bit. I actually just learned about this technique. I want to say from Builderand, but it could have been someone else. I think it was Builderand. Be careful not to hover over the same area for too long or the foam will burn. I'm usually pretty good about this, but not today. For the rivets, I cut circular holes into the shield and set these plastic half spheres into them. I think they're those little containers that vending machine prizes come in, but I really don't know where they came from. I made the rest of the designs out of scrap EVA foam and black craft foam. The three rivets are googly eyes. It's important to note here that for parts of the patterns that ended in narrow points, I used super glue instead of hot glue. I ended up having to move those eye rivets up a bit to make room for the eagle. Some of those craft foam detail pieces I folded in half in order to get them to be symmetrical. This one's giving me some Battlestar nostalgia. I took a break from the precision work to put handles on the back of the shield. If you want to get rid of that diamond pattern, then you can either sand it away or cover it with craft foam, depending on what's in your tool arsenal. And there's the eagle wings. Then I finished up the detail on the top. Alright, now we're ready for Plastidip, or Flexidip, whatever you can find. That will take at least a day to dry, sometimes 2 or 3 depending on the product that you use or the climate that you live in. So in the meantime, maybe build a red guy costume, or whatever you want. When it's dry, take rub and buff and smear it all over the place. I'm making extremely liberal use of the silver rub and buff because I'm trying to use up that particular tube before it dries out. For the interior, I'm going with the blue patina rub and buff because I want this to have a bit more real world look to it, a little bit weathered. I mean, the other shields that I've seen look fantastic, but I don't think spotless automotive blue when I think of medieval weapons, but that's just me. Use gold leaf for the triangles and ruby for the eagle. So I know this shield is a bit out of character for me. I usually do a lot more sci-fi than fantasy gaming props, but I just thought it'd be a fun change of pace. And also I really wanted to test out multicolored rub and buff. I've had these for a few years and haven't found an opportunity to use them. And there you go. That's how I built my Hylian shield. Hope this helped. If you enjoy prop and cosplay tutorials, here's some other builds that I have conveniently available. Links and annotations or cards if you're on a mobile device. And if you want to help out the channel, there's a link to my Patreon page up in the upper left corner right there. So what's your favorite shield from movies or gaming or real life? Let me know in comments below. Jake out!